Welcome to Gentle Yoga. Thank you for being here. I'm Cyndi. If you're new, welcome. I recommend that you have a blanket for under your hips for our seated portion of the class, and also a strap, or I like to use a scarf. And you can just go ahead and put that right around your neck. We'll start in a seated position. I also like to have a bolster for under my knees at the end of class, or for any other time that you might like to have a bolster. Not everybody has a bolster lying around in their house, but you might have a pillow, and that's also something that will come in handy. So let's prop up our hips for our seated breathwork practice to begin with, and get yourself adjusted to where you feel comfort. Now, with that comfort might be some discomfort. That's common, it's natural. Close our eyes and tune our attention to both the comfort and the discomfort. It's called dropping in, entering, falling open to what's here and now. Feeling into a felt sense of presence, physical sensation in the body, rising into awareness, giving us indication that there's information, energy entering form, in formation. We have the meeting of the yin and the yang, and where they meet, we have sensation, rising out of sensation awareness. And any words that come to your mind to describe this dropping in, falling open, being present are perfectly suited and invited, because this is your practice. Find your own language to describe your experience. The breathing practice I'd like to share with you today is a very simple one. It's very universal. It's been used throughout the world. It's called the relaxation breath, also known as 4-7-8 breathing. And if you look online, and mostly on YouTube, but other places, you'll find this breath referred to as the fall asleep in 60 seconds breath. So we're not using it right now with the intention to fall asleep, but perhaps you can take this breathing practice with you to bed tonight, or any night where you're having trouble falling asleep, or you just want to experiment with it. Now, the title 4-7-8 comes from the counting that we associate with the breath practice, and we'll do that together. So closing your eyes, exhale all the breath, and just tip your head slightly downward, placing the tip of the tongue at the roof of the mouth. And on the next in-breath, you're going to inhale through the nose for 4 counts. And then hold that breath at the top of the breath for 7 counts. And here comes the relaxation aspect of it. We're exhaling for 8 counts through the mouth or the nose, your choice. And then let's do it one more time, just like that. 4 count inhale. Hold at the top for 7. Exhale for 8. Keeping the tongue at the roof of the mouth for the entire duration of the exercise. Let's bring the arms into it. As you inhale, reach your arms overhead, open your eyes, look up, 4 count inhale. Now hold your hands over your head like you're creating a big ball of energy around your head, holding for 7 counts. And use your imagination to imagine that you're just holding a ball of energy around the head to help create relaxation in the mind. And as you exhale for 8 counts, you just draw that heaviness of the mind's tendency to overthink things and bring it down. Bring that energy down into the body. That's your 8 count. Exhale. And again, inhale 4 counts, reaching up, looking up, gathering, mobilizing the chi, holding that chi in the upper dantian or around the end point in the center of the head for 7 counts. And then 8 count, exhale. Physically imagine physically moving energy down and away from the head, bringing some of the energy that's up in the head down into the body. We'll do that one more time. Inhale 4 counts. Mobilizing energy and resources to support the brain in relaxing, restoring the balance, freeing any weight or heaviness, not just off the mind and the brain, but off the senses, off the shoulders, off the heart, off the internal organs, and down, 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 letting the hands rest onto the thighs, and then pressing down firmly into the thighs, sliding off onto the knees. It's good. Rolling the shoulders back, opening the chest and heart. Good. See as you can feel the shoulder blades at the upper back pinching towards each other, and then drop the shoulders down and drop your ear to your shoulder with the head tipping towards the flower arrangement, and feeling a nice stretch on the opposite side of the neck. Good. And inhale 4 counts. Hold for 7, and as you hold for 7, bring all your attention to what you're feeling on that side of the neck that's being stretched. And then exhale for 8 counts. Release the tension. Release the tension. Bring the head back to center. Good. Inhale 4 counts. Other side. Tip the head, ear to shoulder. Hold for 7 counts of tension on. Tension in the side of the neck being stretched, the muscles lengthening. And exhale, 8 counts, releasing that tension as you get through halfway through your 8 counts. Physically help release that tension by returning the head back to center. Hands onto the knees, lean forward, and let's roll through spinal flexibility here, creating not only a movement along the spine, but a spiral movement. Spiraling energy is good for moving fluid through the tissue and stimulating what we might call a vortex, circulation of energy that moves and creates flow. Now reversing the direction, go in the opposite direction and try to use more of your core strength than your shoulder strength to create that rotation. Let your shoulders follow along the movement that's initiated around the waist, the obliques. And then come back to the center, pausing. Take your hands to your strap, pulling the hands apart to shoulder level. Good. And then press the arms up. Good. Working with your shoulder flexibility here, you may want to keep a little bend in the knee, or the elbows, and then reach the arms slightly behind the head. Feel a nice stretch in the shoulders, pectoral muscles. Feel a nice stretch energetically across the front of the heart. Good. And then straighten the arms, and let's pull over towards that flower arrangement. That arm straight, bend the elbow, the opposite arm. Try to keep that elbow behind the ear on that side. So instead of coming forward, try to keep that elbow back. Good. Feeling and noticing there's tension on the strap. Come back up, inhale. Good. And back again, exhale. Bring the hands a little behind the head, elbows bent. Feel the stretch in the chest. Good. And Bring the arms a little bit more forward in alignment with the shoulders, the hands, elbows, shoulders in alignment, straightening the arm closest to the couch, bend the arm over the head. Good. Again, modify anything that's too much, just your level of flexibility. Bring the hands back up to the center. Good. Now keeping the arms slightly straight, slightly bent, somewhere in, bring both hands towards that flower arrangement. Then bring the arms shoulder level out in front. Bring over to the other side, stack the arms, pull back and around the head. Good. Straighten over to the other side, stack the arms, and then bring it forward. Do a couple more rounds of that, moving through the shoulder flexibility. If you can, keep a little tension on that strap, feeling that dynamic tension. Come back. Good. Now stack the hands. Good. Bring the arms up and down. Stack the hands in the opposite order. Bring the hands up and over the head and down. Bring the hands parallel. Now over the opposite direction and around and behind. Good. You can do this anytime. If this is something that feels good for your shoulders and you like it, you can your strap somewhere where you can see it. Grab it and create some hydration and mobility in the shoulders anytime. Especially for you swimmers. Now bring the arms over the head. We're going to separate the arms a little wider and open up the chest a little deeper. If this is suitable for your shoulders, let your arms come behind the back. And then over the head. Here we go into our side bend. First, again in the direction towards flower arrangement. And let the hand closest to the floor come to the floor. And then with tension on the strap, pull up and look back with that strap. Turn and look back. Great. And put your head in the position that supports your neck. If it's too much to look up, change the position. Good, and then we'll bring it back up to the starting point. Good. Changing the position of the hands on the strap if you need to. You can bring them in a little closer. If you need a little bit more distance, you can do that. We'll lean to the other side. And just hold your side bend here before you drop into the support of the arm closest to the couch. And then take the hand to the floor when you're ready. Pull tension on that strap and then pull the strap behind the head and look up and back. Again, if that's suitable for your neck. Come back to the center. Good. Using your oblique strength, meaning your side abdominal strength, do the lifting from there rather than using the arm strength. Come up nice and slow. Control the movement. Good, and let the arms come back again and release the strap. Very good. Rub your hands together, interlace your fingers, and then go ahead and roll through the wrists. Reverse direction. Yeah, we'll move some of that energy we've opened up in the shoulders down through the elbows and the hands. Push out through the heels of the hands, stretching. Through the arms, you can feel a nice tendon stretch. Now, as you push the heels of the hands away from the heart, pull the shoulders back behind the heart. Good. And release the arms. Take the hands behind the back and interlace the fingers. Draw the shoulders back. You can feel the chest lift. Good. The crown of the head lifting. Getting the nice open space both horizontally across the shoulders and the chest, as well as vertically along the spine. Now release the hands, bring them forward, and the hand closest to the flower arrangement comes into the heart. Opposite hand comes on top. And as we push out with the hand, we'll pull back on the fingers and stretch the top of the wrist. Good. Pull the elbow back towards the ribs, and with the fingers, push into the fingers of the opposite hand, stretching the wrist. Good, and pull back again. This time, fingers pointing upward. Do the same thing. Pressing through the heel of the hand. Good, and then draw both arms back. Roll through the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders. Bring the backs of the hands together and to the heart. Good. Interlace the fingers, rolling again through the wrists. Reverse direction. It's kind of a brain teaser. Push through and stretch the fingers. Drop the shoulders. Good. As the hands push towards me, pull the shoulders back and down. Release the hands, interlace the fingers behind the back. Opening up that chest. Feel the spine lifting tall in that opening. That's the way. And then releasing, the hands come forward, and the hand closest to the couch comes in towards the heart, opposite hand on top. We're going to press through. Now we can take the thumb of the opposite hand, push it into the palm. That'll activate that energy center at the palm of the hand. We're really looking more for a stretch on the top of the wrist here. Feel into that. Good. And then pull the elbow back. Stretch the fingers. Stretching underside of the wrist. Pull back. Fingers pointing up towards the sky. Bottom of the wrist pointing down towards heaven. Pull back, both hands back, roll through the wrists, shoulders, elbows, backs of the hands together. Bring the hands to the heart and open up the palms onto the knees. Very good. Now just closing our eyes for a moment. Let's feel into what we notice here. Having opened up those energy pathways in the upper body. And also in the lower body, just sitting in a seated position. As we move into working more into the lower body, we'll think about opening up the roots of our tree as we go ahead and place our hands on top of the knees. And then draw the knee closest to the flower arrangement into the chest. Let the opposite shin rest on top of that foot, and we'll go right into a seated twist. So this might be a little different than you're used to. You're probably used to taking that foot all the way over. We can start more gently, just tucking that foot in the corner of the opposite knee. Sitting upright. You can stay on your cushion as I am, or you can remove it depending on what feels more aligned for you. Now lifting the spine, before we go into our twist and we're rounding and crouching, let's use that arm that's in behind us to prop up the spine, create space in the vertebrae. Good. And as we exhale, simultaneously pulling the knee into the chest with the opposite arm and creating that leverage here for our seated twist. Good. And it might just be natural for you to close your eyes, so I would just invite you to notice what you notice. You might be more prone to keeping them open. Some of you might prefer to close. Some of you might notice you're somewhere in between. They're not fully open, not fully closed, but soft. And let's just imagine that that is the body choosing what it needs in this moment. So if there's too much information that it's taking in, it'll tend to close the eyes. If it wants to feel safe and secure, it will keep the energy in the environment and its awareness, and keeping the eyes open, and mine also just like the light. And if you're somewhere in between, you can decide for yourself by tuning into your body what it's choosing, why it's preferring that. Now come back to the center, unwinding, and let's lift that foot up and out of the corner of the knee and extend the leg. Again, you can keep the cushion under the seat or remove it, your choice. We're going to square the hips so that we're facing the extended leg. So there's a tendency to have our hips square between our knees. So it'll be a little bit of a turning here of the shoulders and the pelvis to find a nice straight line in our forward fold over the front of the leg as we reach up. Inhale, nice and slow, as if you're gathering and mobilizing energy to support you. If you're going in and diving in to this space and you're going to be here a while, what are you choosing to take with you? You're gathering that on the inhale with the arms sweeping around. Exhale, folding in. Take your inhale to lift out partway, readjust, and then exhale, hold again. And here you decide if you'd like to use your strap and place it around the foot. That can be helpful if you're not flexible enough to reach your toes, or even if you are, but you feel like it's straining and rounding the shoulders too much. Choose the option that feels most sustainable for holding this posture for 5 breaths with good form. And these breaths are long and slow. Try to stretch out the exhale. Remember, as we learned in our first breathing practice, exhaling long initiates a relaxation response. The slower we exhale, the more we engage. Calm, responsive immune system, not an autoimmune situation where we're overreacting. Something that's relative to what we're facing. Now rising up on an inhale, slowly stack the spine 1 vertebrae at a time as you come up. Let the strap just be wherever it is. Going to extend the arms out to the side. Inhale. Good. Bend the elbows. Good. Let the wrists get soft and the fingers get heavy, like your arms are like wings. And then turning so that our shoulders are squaring over the bent knee. And then let the hand drop down to the inside of the knee as we reach up. Inhale, look up. And exhale, slide into a side bend. The same legs. Nice continuation of lengthening down the back of that leg. And this time adding stretch to the side body. Add a little bit more to this in terms of a dynamic tension. We can imagine that we're pushing the palm of the hand into a glass wall in front of us, and then rolling the shoulder back into a glass wall behind us, or pinned plates of glass that are there to help us with our alignment. The foot flexed on the extended leg, engaging the muscles of the back of the leg. As you flex the foot, you engage the quadricep at the top of the thigh. which will in turn invoke a relaxation response on the opposing muscle group, the hamstring. Now drawing the breath in, rising up again, moving slowly so you can feel what's happening in the body as all the muscles work together. A lot of energy and musculature is being recruited to create these movements in the body. Good. Now draw that knee in and extend that leg out to a straddle position. In our straddle position, again, you can have the hips elevated as I do, or let them come square to the floor, your choice. We'll flex both feet, sit up tall, roll the shoulders back. Now here you can use your bolster or your pillow if you'd like to have something to lean into here. Blocks can be useful here as well. And we're just laying our body center, our torso center between the legs to the degree that feels, again, sustainable for about 5 deep, slow breaths. So I'd invite you to just play with language a little bit. And it's really common to say, take a deep breath. But I find that if we change that word deep to slow, we automatically get deep, but it's not as, the urgency isn't there, or sometimes we can take a deep breath and it's like, but if we say a slow breath, then we can take that breath in slow and long, and we still go deep, but it's more presence, more patience with it. So try it out to see what happens for you. Leaning into this for a couple more breaths. Go a little deeper on your exhale if that's warranted for your flexibility, and just let yourself be had by the gravity, meaning let gravity have you. Try not to resist gravity, but trusting that when we surrender to gravity, there is some levity there waiting to be released into the body as energy. Now rising up with the core strength, slowly stack the spine. Good. So there's your slow, deep inhale. And adjusting, placing the pillow, if you were using one, to the opposite side of the room so it's not in your way. We'll come back to our seated position, cross-legged. We want the foot closest to the flower arrangement in front, and we'll do another forward fold here. You're welcome to use that bolster or that pillow again, or come down onto those forearms and notice now the difference in this forward fold. Same action with the upper body, but our lower body position has changed, so it completely changes all the sensory awareness. Breathing into this slowly and deeply, simultaneously. See if you can meet your sensory awareness with your breath. A patient, slow, deep inhale. And that intentional, slow, relaxed exhale. One more step. Rising up, inhale, feeling your abdominal strength engaged to support and lift, building the spinal power from the bottom up with the strength at the core, lifting and raising you up. Hands to the knees, and we'll take the knee closest to the couch, lift it up into the chest. Again, tuck the foot into the corner of the opposite knee. Then hug the knee to the chest with the opposite arm. Sit up nice and tall. Reach around. Use the arm behind you as a prop to support you. Notice as I straighten the arm, push down into the heel of the hand, the palm of the hand. Notice the crown of the head lifting. And as I twist and turn my gaze backward, I'm simultaneously pulling my knee into my chest and forward. Actually, my chest is pulling forward into my knee pulling into my chest as my spine lifts out of that tension, rising up. Now, it goes without saying that if my breaths are too long, don't go to exertion to stretch your breath out to match mine. Do breathe in a way that works for you. So your breaths might be 2 to 1. That's perfectly fine. Don't ever want to compromise the breath or the form. Compromise the form for the breath, but let them both have their own existence. Eventually they will meet and flow together without competing, but synergistic, natural efforts. Union. That's what the word yoga means. Union. Come out of your twist. Good. That foot up. Balance here for a moment. Feel into your core strength. Lean back a little. Good. Extend the leg. Placing foot. Heel pressing out, toes pulling back to the floor, leg extended. Hands on the hips for a moment. Shoulders back. Notice how the shoulders are square between both knees. And we're going to turn a little bit towards that extended leg. Let the shoulders follow that movement of the pelvis. Good. Pressing the foot firmly into the inner thigh. Good. If you'd like to use your strap, have it handy. Place it around the ball of the foot. And as you're ready, scoop the navel back to the spine as you hinge forward. See if you can keep that back flat. Good. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Exhale, a nice long relaxing exhale in. And then inhale, come up halfway out of the pose. And then exhale, ask gravity to support you. And finding that resting pose that supports, living at the edge of your flexibility, really hanging out on that edge, not forcing yourself beyond your limits, but not staying too far within them. Noticing not only what arises in terms of tension, sense of the body, or muscular inhibition is low in the twist stretch, muscles aren't quite sure that give in that much safely. Inhibition. If you stay with that inhibition long enough, the body learns that it's safe, that it can handle going a little further. So you have to rest into the waiting, patiently trusting, giving our body time. And as we do, we witness and watch the tendency of the mind to like to be on to the next thing or somewhere other than where it is, experiencing something other than what is happening. watch for the resistance through judgment and let it be there without judging it. Don't judge the judgment, just be aware. Use your core strength to rise up, nice and slow. Time, use that core strength to come up. The more we use it, the more we build it, the more we can rely on that core strength. Hands back to the hips. And then turning the hips and the shoulders so that our chest is centered over our bent knee. Take the arms out to the side, palms down, elbows bent, and then pressing out like wings. And then exhale into your side bend with that forearm landing to the inside of the lower leg, reaching only as far as you can overhead with that top arm, just to say hello to the side body. And then inhale, reach up, come out of it, and exhale, sink in a little deeper. Good. If you want, you can reach all the way over and touch the toe. Most of it, that flexibility isn't an option. And also you can use your strap here if that feels more supported. Helps to keep the foot flexed if you get it on the right part of your foot. And if you'd like, rather than using the strap, create that tension by imagining, using the imagination to push forward, pull back, get into the planes of glass supporting our alignment, and then just keep reaching in the direction of the toes with the fingertips. Feeling the strength on the core, rising up, the oblique strength now. So it's not the core where the navel is, but off to the side, we have core strength in the obliques that are being developed as well as we navigate the space. Good. Pulling the knee into the chest and extending the leg, opening up to straddle. Now for straddle, if that's uncomfortable, you can bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana, or bound angle pose, and do your forward fold there. You can also come into cross leg, and you can also use your support, your bolster or your pillow to find the nice, low, easy descent into a resting position that's active in the lower body, with the feet flexed. If you don't have a bolster, you can stack your fists and rest your forehead on your top hand. Or prop yourself up on those forearms. Let's stay here for a couple more slow breaths. Come up a little differently with this one as we work the awareness along the spine. We'll tuck our chin to our chest, rounding the spine. Good. And then scoop the navel towards the spine, rounding, rounding, rounding. So you're like curling that spine in and up on top of itself and feeling it rising up and out through the crown of the head in a nice tall seated position. Draw the legs together and bring the knee closest to the plant in first, and then the opposite for our cross-leg position. And we have one more forward fold here, and we'll go into our reclined stretches. Bring the palms up, elbows back, all the way back, back. Now rotate the wrists so the fingers point in. Stretch the fingers wide, pushing back, push, open the chest. Lifting up out of the spine, dropping the shoulders. Let the hands scan the environment around you, drawing a big circle, and then dropping into that circle. Dropping into the space, the geometry of your body. Letting the neck get long by tucking the chin towards the chest, reaching the crown of the head towards me, sinking the tailbone back and down into the floor. Reaching in that general direction. Now let's use our imagination and stretch our attention beyond our physical spine, about 6 inches above the head and 6 inches below the tailbone, and imagine stretching our awareness around the body. As you breathe into that circle. Good, and then take it 12 inches ahead, above the head, below the tail, around the body. Big sphere of energy. Breathe and fill it up. Good. Just imagine you're in a bubble of your own essential energy and you rising up to seated. We'll take our hands onto the knees, lean back, uncross the legs. Good. And we'll take our attention to our core. Imagine we're in the bubble of our own energy, floating. And as we're floating, we can lift the legs and be supported by that floating energy. Squeeze the inner thighs together, relax the shoulders, let the arms come to the sides, elbows slightly bent, wrists soft, fingers heavy. Good. Hold your core strength. If you need to, you can drop your toes to the floor for support. Good. Or take your hands behind your thighs. Stay with me for a couple more breaths. Good. You can do this. Feeling in the core. Maybe a little shaky. That's good. New information. Energy moving into parts that it's not normally occupying. Now draw the knees into the chest. Good. And let's roll both knees over towards the couch. We're going to transition onto our knees, which we haven't been doing in this class. A lot of people have sensitive knees. We won't be here long. If you need, you can take your blanket, put it under the knees. We're going to do some spinal stretches here and to stretch for the abdominals. So I'd like to have you up on your hands and knees, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And I'm demonstrating with a little extra something under my knees. And let's let the pelvis tilt forward, sinking, way back, sinking, and the elbows sinking. Just keep sinking towards the earth. Sinking. Good, and then rising and rounding and lifting the back of the spine towards heaven, scooping earth into the navel. Good, and then begin to flatten the spine. Let the belly be pulled to the earth, pulled to the center of the earth, sinking, sinking. And the more the belly pulls to the earth, the heavier things get, and the whole body starts pulling towards the center of the earth. The elbows bend, and we sink into a child pose. Sit back, hips to heels, extend the arms. And let your hips rock side to side here. Just a nice gentle movement in the hips, side to side. And from here, we'll slide our hands forward and come onto our belly. Come into what's called a prone position. And let your hips shift side to side. And pull the elbows back under the shoulders. And then use the upper body strength just to lift, lifting up into a modified cobra position. Creating a little tension here, a little compression in the low back. So be mindful for your body if you need to. Modify that. And then slowly come down. Do that 2 more times, pushing forearms into the floor, rising up and sinking down. Good. As you rise up, you want to imagine you're rising up out of the deep, thick mud of the earth. So it's heavy at first. Feel the heaviness and the resistance as you rise up. Use your imagination. Now your head above the surface, feeling the levity of the sky lifting. It becomes lighter and easier. And then we sink back down. Bring the hands back under the shoulders. Come back onto the knees. Sit back in your child pose. Releasing that lumbar spine. And preparing to come into a reclined position. You're going to find yourself on the floor in a position where you can lie back and have your head supported if you need that support. I like to have it. And keep your strap handy. Come into a reclined position. Let's do so by starting with a nice, feel good low back stretch. Anything that got sticky or catchy in our low back, lumbar compressions, we're going to release here. Separate the knees, hands to the knees, create circles. Actually, anything you'd like to do here that feels good. Range. Now resting the feet to the floor, we're going to continue with this idea of moving through the flexibility of the spine with the feet hip width apart for bridge. We'll tilt the pelvis back and forth just a couple times before we elevate anything off the floor. We're tipping the pelvis forward and back, and try not to use the shoulders. Try not to use the leg muscles, but the core strength. It's a slow range of motion, just small range of motion in that pelvic region. That's the way. Now, arms next to the side to support the upper body as we tip the pelvis back. Begin to feel each vertebrae lift off of the mat and transferring the weight into the shoulders. Keep a magnetism in the inner thighs, meaning you feel them pulling towards each other like a magnet so the knees don't splay out. You want to feel energy moving along the center of the body, even between the legs, pulling those legs into each other to create a nice strength and a pillar of support for that upper body. Let the arms reach overhead, stretching the spine away from the arms, tracing it back into the floor, one vertebrae at a time. As the pelvis tips back and down, lift the heels, lift the toes, bring the knees to the chest, and reach down if you can. Take your ankles. If you can't take your ankles, that's fine. If you'd like to here, you can grab your strap and place it around your feet, and we'll elevate the legs, flex the feet. Good. Point the toes, flex, point. Good. Let the hands come down under the knees. If you'd like to here, you can bend your knees if you're okay with your feet. The legs straight, feet up. Keep them that way. And rotate the ankles. Reverse direction. Good. Now, windshield wiper the feet. Moving those ankles. Flex and point. Good. Now drawing the right knee into the chest. With your left leg. Right, keep the shoulders relaxed. Release the right knee a little bit away from the chest. Pull it over to just on the other side of the navel. Keeping your lumbar spine on the mat, and then draw that knee up towards the left shoulder. Spine neutral. Hands can be underneath the thigh or on top of the knee, your choice. Now take your right arm, extend it away from the shoulder, palm down, firm pressure with the arm down to the floor as your left hand guides your right knee over to the left side. If it's comfortable on your neck, turn and look over your right arm. And just be mindful if you do have low back issues or anything of concern in the low back. We are moving into a spinal twist, so we want to be gentle, be mindful and aware of our capacity here. And then once we know we're in safe territory, we can take our imagination for a ride along the spine and just notice what we notice and see if we can add a little imagery to support the body in creating more flow. You can visually see water flowing along the spine like a river. You can see light and air. Anything that your imagination comes up with to create a sanctuary of allowing flow in the body, encouraging and inviting it. And you're adding the element of environmental support from the mind, the body, to move in a particular direction that's beneficial. Now coming out of the twist, bring the knee back up into the chest. Nice high drive up the knee towards that right shoulder and then over to the right side. As you release the right foot, then press it firmly into the left inner thigh. Dropping the right knee to the floor. Place your hands across your pelvis. Good. And now, as you keep your left hand pushing down on the left hip, see if you can pull across the pelvis with the right hand, all the way down the inner thigh towards the right knee. Feel even curling the fingers of your left hand into the hip bone on the left side as you push to the right leg and pull. Feeling the full stretch here, not only to the inner thigh but across the pelvis. And then extend that right leg, bring the knees together, feet together, stretch the arms overhead, breathe in, reach. And exhale, scooping in, knees to chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Feel it in the low back. Making any adjustments you need to or add-ons. Any add-ons you want to make here that feel good for you. And then drawing the left knee up into the chest. High as is comfortable as you go ahead, push through the right heel. Push through the right heel, extend the right leg, but hold that leg up for a moment as you draw the left knee in. And slowly, you need to obviously keep the knee bent on that right side. Work your way into slowly straightening that leg. Bring the whole weight of the leg to the floor. Feel the support of the earth below you. And feel the awakening on the left side to what's new. How the body's responding to the newness. Now release that stretch halfway as the knee presses into the hands, pulling the knee across the midline of the body towards the navel, but keeping that lumbar, spine, and sacrum, back to the sacrum on the mat, and then draw the knee back up the front, up the center of the spine, and a little over towards that right shoulder. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Notice what comes alive. Left side, you want to add a little rotation in the ankle on the left side, you can do that. Let's free up the left arm and extend it in the opposite direction. The right hand supporting left knee gradually, and if you can simultaneously move the left knee, to the right side. Lift your gaze over the left arm. That's the way, keeping nice steadiness in the breath and noticing as you're tracking your flexibility and staying within your limits. That's go to the next level of bringing the imagination in, or what you're intending to experience and offer the body. Your gentle, inspired imagery, the language the body responds to, language of the elements, earth, air, fire, water, wood, metal, elements. See the spine happy and responding to the mind's gentle offering of suggestions, letting the body take what it can use and come out of that, unwinding and letting that inner thigh open as you place the left foot to the right inner thigh. Put gentle pressure or firm pressure, whatever you can handle, whatever feels good for you. Without putting any direct pressure on the knee, let your foot come a little higher than the knee if that's possible with your flexibility. And if applying pressure there doesn't feel good for you right now, then just gently let the leg rest as an external rotation of the hip on the left side. Take the fingers of the right hand, cup them along the inside of the right hip, pull it towards the right, then press the left palm down into the pelvis across towards the left knee, moving your hands in opposing directions simultaneously, letting the lower body receive the benefit of this application of pressure, dynamic tension, the intention to open. In some yoga classes, they might use a sandbag and put it on top of the knee to move it towards the floor. You're using your own hand. Now releasing the external rotation in the hip, draw the knee into alignment with the hip and slowly extend the leg. Free up your arms and stretch them overhead. Reach into the space above the head. Reach into the space below the feet. Roll through the wrists and ankles. Reverse direction. And then once again, bringing the knees to the chest for one last stretch. Adding a little bit more if you'd like it by tucking your chin to your chest. Bringing your forehead towards your knees. Rounding in a ball, just feeling a nice tension here if you can and want to and are interested in squeezing the feet by curling the toes, create tension in the feet, the lower legs, the upper thighs, get the pelvis, the hips, the abdominals, then bring it in the arms, create fists, tension in the lower arm, upper arm, shoulder, chest, neck, face, tighten, 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 tighten. And on an exhale, release. Opening up, letting the body open, just as if it was tight in a tight, if you just had a really tight shoe on and you just took it off. Just imagine how your foot might open up into the freedom of that space. Let your body be like a foot opening up, being freed from a tight shoe. And taking some slow breaths here. Noticing what's befalling you, what's falling over you in terms of awareness. What are you noticing? But noticing into the heart cave and noticing the rhythmic beat of the heart. Even if you can't physically hear it, imagine it. Imagine it pulsing to the beat of a greater pulse, the pulse of the earth. And that pulse beating to the pulse of a greater pulse, the pulse of the solar system, and beyond that, the galaxy and the universe, and beyond into the unknown, a pulse that we're tracking unknowingly and that's tracking us, always present, conspiring on our behalf. Trusting in that pulse, let's rest for a few more breaths of silence. Start to bring your attention to the pulse, applying every finger and every toe. Let's track that pulse back to the heart as we move our hands and feet. The movement create a little ripple into the wrists and the ankles, the elbows and the shoulders, the hips. Kind of organic movement feels appropriate. Transition from stillness to movement, mobilizing energy and chi. Gently rotate our knees together from one side to the other. Figure pattern. Figure eight pattern is a known pattern in the universe and in the body. The Celtic weave supports us energetically in the matrix. Being integrated. Now draw yourself into a sideline position, rolling onto your side. And rest here in a fetal position, the very primal position the body really trusts. Familiarity and deep memories in this position are of home and safety and origin. We can connect rationally to our physical origins, knowing our place, time, date, location, parents of birth. But we have something else called a mystical origin that we may never discover, but we want to remain open to. So in that light, let's come up into a position, bringing our spine erect in a vertical position. Re-find your cushion for your seat. And as we sit in an upright position, let's imagine opening our heart and our mind, our yin and our yang energy to our mystical origins with receptivity and sensitivity that we may actually get a glimpse of the direction that we were being in this world, into this life. And that we might find our creativity lining up with the aim of our soul's direction, and find not only a personal satisfaction, but a way to serve and give value to others, satiated in knowing that we are an instrument, something generous, loving, and kind, and that we ourselves are that, especially as we come together in community. Bring the hands back again, palms up, elbows back. Press your heart forward towards me. Open up, trusting the openness of the heart to find that which is seeking us. Bring the backs of the hands together towards the heart and draw the hands together in prayer position. Bring the hands up towards the third eye. Good. As you bow forward, let the hands slide down the front of the spine to the heart. Bowing a little deeper, let the hands slide down into the belly. And then place the hands one on top of the other over the navel, and we'll draw circles around the navel, up the right side, across the transverse, down the left. Good. And this is supporting our ability to digest our experience, supporting that we can digest our experience. And then bring the hands up to the heart. Good. And hold here for a moment. Just feeling the warmth of your hands, energy in the hands penetrating the heart, and the warmth of the heart penetrating the hands. A mutual exchange of appreciation and spark of creativity lives in the heart and gets transferred out the hands. Good. Create a fist with the hand closest to the heart, cover with the hand in front. Breathe out. Good. Flatten the hands, pull apart, fingers together, create a heart, and bring it to the heart. Good. And then again, hands together. Namaste.